everyone. I realize you haven't heard from me in a few days now. It's been going really great. This is hot chocolate. It is very nice and windy out here and is under 90 degrees, so I feel justified in drinking my hot chocolate. Natalie's shaking her head at me, but I don't drink coffee, and this is what I consider the nectar of the gods. It keeps me going. So we have been in Mississippi living our lives this past couple days. Yesterday we spent our day in Scooba, Mississippi, which is home to East Mississippi Community College, and they were closed. So I will let Kieran from the past talk a little bit about that. Hi everyone, Natalie and I are in Scooba, and we are on campus at East Mississippi Community College, and their football field was wide open. The gate was open to the stadium, the gate was open to the field, so we are enjoying walking around. It is beautiful weather, not humid actually, just like high UV intensity, so gonna get burned, but actually feeling good. There are almost no people here. It is bizarre. The college campus is deserted in that, you know, pandemic feeling, which is very weird because yesterday Natalie and I were at the KOA in the nighttime and the pool's open. So everyone can just go lounge in the pool, but at the same time, here a few miles over, everything is deserted on the college campus. So stay tuned for what we find here in Scooba and if the people were actually eaten by zombies. One of the doors inside was unlocked, and so we went in and everything was left. There was like an umbrella on the floor. The popcorn stand still had little stuff in it. Like, there were tons and tons of Coke Zero and Diet Coke in the fridge and on the ground. And no one knew that no one was coming back, and it just really feels apocalyptic. And one of the little water fountains had been stuck, and it was just still spewing water, and I wonder how many weeks that little water fountain's been going. So we helped East Mississippi Community College out with their water bill and turned that baby off. But yeah, it kind of feels very apocalyptic. Oh my gosh, a car! There are humans here. Well, everybody, we got kindly requested to exit the premises of EMCC. So we are off campus now, walking back to our car, taking pictures as we go, and the police officer did not even help us find a bathroom. And we know full well that some of the buildings are in fact open, and yet he did not assist.
Says he doesn't have one at their little police station. Homie, I know you do.
Yeah. So we left. All's well. We're gonna go check out the other little bits of Scooba, though there isn't much. But this has been quite the adventure of the afternoon.
It has.
Just wait till y'all see the pictures. The whole place is deserted. There are some workers nearby working on building some houses, so there were some humans in the area, but none
They
on...
look like residents, like houses. They live here for sure.
Right. And then the only people we saw were the police requesting we exit the premises. So, fun fact, that did happen. But all is well. It's really creepy.
It is creepy.
Like, the drink machines in the dining hall still work. There's still ketchup out. It's really weird. All right, goodbye. Here's where Kieran from the present feels the need to say something. We got removed from the campus not because we were trespassing, which we totally were not, but because the campus was actually closed. So I guess technically we were trespassing, but we didn't know that at the time. And Starbucks has put on some music for us now. So that's when the police officer saw us, and he was like, hey, our campus is closed. And we were like, oh, we're looking for a bathroom. Which, actually, we were. This is true as well. Very nice jazz music, Starbucks. And, there are no pictures of this police officer, as he declined to talk to us and have his photograph taken, despite my attempts to ask questions. And he only answered one of them, which was, when was the campus closed and when did people leave? And he said, early March. So you should go now too. So we left. But that's my little disclaimer about what happened there. There was no actual trouble. Hello, Natalie and I are exploring the rest of Scooba right now. You know, there's not very much. It's mainly East Mississippi Community College. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek at some of our findings. So we are going to actually look through a crack in a door and see what's behind it. Natalie and I found an entrance into one of these abandoned places, and we found some really cool stuff, including a yearbook from 1968. That video was a peek inside this huge safe. So here's the door to the safe. See how big that was? That was what was inside it. I realized I also never included any of our footage from Mosses, Alabama, and that was mainly because of a problem you're about to hear about from past Kieran, but then I forgot to upload these videos into a video, so you're getting them now. Hey everyone, Natalie are officially all settled in at our KOA site in Scooba, Mississippi, where we will be tackling tomorrow. So yesterday we spent our day in Mosses, Alabama, and it was our last stop in Mosses, and it was a really rough spot. The racial tension was very high. In some places. So being kind of blonde and pale, and I kind of stood out like a sore thumb. And that was really difficult at times, to be the minority while also trying to convince people to trust me and open up. I learned a little bit about how the pandemic affected the community of Mosses. The people we finally connected with were a bunch of boys a little older than us, hang out in front of the meat market smoking, and they were like, I rolled up with my camera and they were like, oh my god, she's got a camera, let's pose. And I was like, yes, this is the enthusiasm I need. And only one of them gave us his name, Michael. He was very, very enthusiastic. And a lot of people in the Mosses community actually got COVID. 4 people actually passed away from it. They commute to Haynesville, which is the nearby town, and 3 of them worked in the nursing home in Haynesville and contracted COVID and passed away, which is really difficult for a community that small. And the boys were telling us that some of their family members got COVID, but everyone was okay. And they said other than really having to stop working, it didn't really affect them. And everyone was okay, and getting sick, it was not as bad as even like the flu for their families. So that was pretty good. I got some neat pictures. I had an error uploading. I took some videos yesterday on the road and also some of my pictures, but when I was uploading it, it was to my computer from my SD card. It was like files corrupted, and then on my camera it was suddenly like these files are protected, and I was like, what is happening? So I lost some footage from yesterday, sadly, but I still have a decent amount of pictures and some of my portraits of the boys, which is good. We talked to a lady who worked at the local water and electricity place, and she was very hesitant to talk to us about any of it. But I stood there awkwardly for probably about 15 minutes. And so eventually I think she realized that I just was going to stay and keep asking questions. So eventually she just kind of started answering. Really, I think so I would leave. But that was amusing. No one wore masks in Mosses except for the women, actually. I noticed that none of the boys and men that we met were wearing masks, but all of the women almost were, which was a very, very interesting dynamic between the two genders. Yesterday in Alabama, Natalie experienced her first license checkpoint in the South, which was very amusing to watch. So kind of aggressively, the Alabama police in Haynesville were pulling people over and asking for license and registration, and being an out-of-state license, I was worried about if I was going to be fined, and thankfully I wasn't. And they actually just let me go through, but they were pulling a lot of people over and talking to them, and I don't know, it was kind of disturbing. They were really gruff with us, and right now there's a lot of tension, and I don't know if I personally consider the police my friends right now, and I don't really know what to do when encountering them, but other than be polite. But internally, after their gruffness, I was boiling. I called my mom. I was like, Mom! So, and none of them were wearing any sort of identification other than hats and vests that said police. And there were no badges, there were nothing like that. There was no actual identification, no name tags, which I did not like at all. And I was not able to get a picture because when I tried, I was told to put down my device, and I listened to instructions. I didn't want to cause a problem. Yeah. Right. I was scared, in all honesty. It was scary because of everything that's happening right now, and it was scary. And then we continued driving, and there were no cars that came after us on the road. So I really and there were other cars behind us when we were driving on this small 2-lane country road. So I just wonder what happened to those cars. Yeah. And there were other cars parked on the side of the road that the police were talking to, and they were all old white men. And I just felt very, very uncomfortable in that scenario. And it, I don't know, breaks my heart that we keep having to have the civil rights movement over and over again. And I hope that finally this time our generation can demand some justice and equality. But that was not a fight I was about to pick while alone with another 20-year-old girl in my car, surrounded by people. And yeah, so we drove past that, and then we saw a situation that was very, very sketchy. Oh, yeah. There was an empty car, and a policeman was there unscrewing the license plate off the car. And we were driving, so I didn't feel comfortable stopping and to take a picture. It was right after there. Right. So I didn't feel comfortable stopping to take a picture. I would have felt unsafe. And on this trip, safety is one of the things that we're really trying to put forth with COVID. And right now with police, it's very hard to feel safe in their presence. So that's your Mosses update. Sorry you didn't get any actual footage from the field. There wasn't very much anyways. But sorry about that. Anyways, tomorrow we head into Scooba, and I'm very excited about it. And we finished getting our tent up here at the KOA, and all is well. All right, we're no longer super tired. We got sleep. Much sleep. All is well with us now.
We're
time
adapted
change.
to the time change.
We have adjusted. We're doing good now. I even figured out how to set my little teeny watch to the right number.
Oh God, I have to change mine.
Your watch is,
It's a G-Shock.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a chunky watch, but whatever.
She has also a non-smart watch, so she'll have to also figure out how to change hers. But that was a whole like hour-long process this morning of figuring out my little watch. I was like, wow, I think I need another hand to push all these buttons at the same time, but it all worked out. All right, everybody, there's our sign off from the wilderness. Hoping you're having a great day. So that was the footage of my reflection in our day after Mosses, which was actually before our day in Scooba. Just to set up a little timeline there. Mosses, Alabama, Scooba, Mississippi. But now, sorry, the Starbucks tunes scared me. Now we'll tell you guys a little story about our time at the KOA in Scooba, Mississippi. So I had to pee in the night, so I like get up. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And okay, like, don't die. I'm like, all right. So I get up, and I'm like going to get the little lantern flashlight thing, and I see this like white creature on the ground. I'm like, oh, okay, a possum, because my like Virginia self is automatically like strange white creature on the ground, possum, makes sense. And then it like moved, and it was kind of big, and I was like, albino raccoon, cool. You know, I was tired, and then it like darted in front of me, and I was like, oh no, that was a dog. So then I was like, Natalie, and she was like, what? And I was like, you have to walk with me, I'm seeing things. I was a possum raccoon dog. And Natalie was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like in a sleep deprived hallucination. I don't know what's real. So then I was like, okay, yes, I'll walk with you. So Natalie gets out, and we're walking up the little like pathway. We're at a KOA. We walk up the little tent pathway, and our like neighbors were sitting out by their cabin, and they're like, did you guys see the dog? And I was like, oh, I'm not crazy. This is great. And so then we saw it again, and it was this little skimpy white dog with like patches of fur missing, and its like tail tucked between its legs, and it had a collar but no name tag. And I was like, oh God, like this dog's lost, like it ran away, like something happened to it. And so Natalie and I so it like comes up to us and like lays down and is like, give me a belly rub. And we're like, oh my goodness, this is someone's pet. And so we're with it, and then this guy comes up who we've nicknamed Oregon because he's from Oregon. And Oregon comes out, and he's like, oh my God, like, is that your dog? And we're like, no, we just found it here. And he was like, oh. So then we like kind of walk around, and Natalie stays with the dog, and we're like, did you lose a dog? To anyone who was up. And everyone was like, no. And I'm like, great. So then we come back, and Oregon's like, okay, well, I have a dog, so let me go get her leash and some food, and we'll try to like get her on a leash, and then in the morning we'll talk to the KOA people. And I'm like, oh good, an adult is here figuring out what to do, forgetting the fact that I too am actually now an adult. You know, that's weird. So he goes to get the leash, and I'm holding onto the dog, and then I like get up to get the leash, and Natalie's holding onto the dog, and we go to like put it on her when she like squeals, and we all let go, and she like darts off, and we're like, oh no, we lost the dog. So then we follow her down, and she like runs off into the woods behind the RVs, and we're like, okay. So Oregon does a lap, Natalie and I get ready for bed again, and then we do a lap around the KOA, and there's no sign of her. And so we're like, okay, we might never see her again. But then the next morning, I'm like fast asleep, and Natalie goes, Karen, and I'm like, what? And she's like, the dog's outside. And I'm like, it is? And so the dog's outside. I didn't see it this time. I saw it in a few minutes, but I guess it was like laying down, like covered in mud, like it had slept there. And so I come out and I'm like, oh, like what time is it? Like, are the KOA people open yet? And it was like, no. It was like 6 in the morning. I
had been on this mission for a while already.
Natalie says that she'd been up for a while looking for the dog, and I was tired. And so I get out, and there's the darn dog. And then Natalie goes, there's a second one. And I'm like, what? And then this other fur creature just comes loping up on its like big fluffy paws. And this is like an older dog, like really fluffy. And it has the same thing, collar with no little tag thing. And it just comes up and it like sits and it's like, hello people. And I'm like, these stray dogs are just attracted to Natalie. There's nothing I can do about it. And Natalie keeps going, you like me? Remember that, as she like sits surrounded by stray dogs. And I'm like,
only like, yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, so we got some water for them. And we tried, so we don't have like a dog leash or anything, but we have a clothesline. And so I took down the clothesline and put a carabiner on it. And I managed to get Care Bear, which is what we named the big fluffy dog.
I got Care Bear.
You got Care Bear? Natalie says she got Care Bear on the leash. I don't think it matters. Sadie is what we named the other one. Sadie ran off. And I didn't see Sadie again after she ran off. Neither did Natalie. She's shaking her head at me. But Care Bear hung out with us. And then Oregon woke up and he saw us. And he was like, hey! We were like, hey, we found a different dog. And he was like, of course you did. And I was like, it's really just Natalie. I'm not, yeah. I have a dog, but she's small. She's a pug. You've seen her in other videos. And if it's bigger than that, I'm not really a fan of it. I like cats and I like tiny dogs. That's it. So I'm just kind of sitting there, kind of like, sweet doggy. And Natalie's like all up in his face, like, oh, sweetness. And I'm like doing some research about like humane societies nearby and like what to do when you find a stray dog. But we're in the middle of Mississippi on a Saturday and nowhere's open. And so Oregon was like, is there a number on the KOA website we could call, like an after hours number? And I was like, oh, wow. I wish we thought of that last night, but like, good job, Oregon. And so I call the number. And the lady's like, of the actual KOA we're staying at, the lady was like, hi! And I was like, hi! We found these dogs! And she was like, oh yeah, those dogs! Is one of them like kind of older and the other one's like white with some patches? And I was like, yeah, you know these dogs? And I guess they have an owner who lives down the street who just lets them run loose and they just go to the KOA and pick through trash.
Boo! Take care of your dogs!
And that broke my heart because while Care Bear looked like fluffy, Care Bear knew how to like sit and shake, like someone clearly was training Care Bear, okay. But Sadie had like chunks of fur missing and was like skittish and scrawny. And whereas Care Bear was like plump, maybe Care Bear's the favorite, I don't know. But yeah, it was really sad knowing that they are going back somewhere where someone isn't really taking care of them. Neither of them looked really like fed or well taken care of, and there was no name tag. And the KOA lady was like, I've asked this guy a number of times to please not do this, like the dogs come over here all the time and he just won't. She's like, and unless like they're on my property, like I can't tell him what he has to do with the dogs. So I was like, right, of course. And Oregon has a dog who's some like prize-winning truffle mushroom hunting dog that like hunts out truffles and like they sell them for hundreds of dollars. I don't really know how it all works, but she is more spoiled than my diva dog. And so all of us diva dog owners are sitting around there. My diva dog has no titles except best puppy in my heart. And so we just all kind of sat around petting this dog, just kind of like looking wistfully at it like, dang, I wish I could give you a good bath and a hot dog. Like, and so we let him go, and the people in front of us that we'd seen the night before were like, excuse me, why did you let your dog go? And we were like, this isn't our dog. We had to let it go. It's not our dog. And it was very emotional. And I still don't think Natalie is okay from the experience.
I'm not.
She says she's not. Because Natalie got very, very upset about taking care of your dog. And if it was just Care Bear, I would have been like, okay. But there was something clearly wrong that happened to Sadie. Or was happening to Sadie, and she didn't look okay. So that truly breaks my heart. And for all my pet people out there, hug your pets super tight. Remember to put name tags on them. If you're like Oregon, get them microchipped. I probably should get my dog microchipped, but I haven't. And take care of your dogs, take care of your cats, take care of your gerbils, your snakes, your rabbits. I don't know, but just love them, hold them, squeeze them, give them a treat. I don't know. Maybe give them a bath. These dogs really needed a bath. All right. Well, that's me signing off from video 12. There's your puppy story for the video, since you haven't been able to see my puppy. And have a good rest of your day. I hope this uploads soon.